All right, so get ready, because this time we're diving deep into a true crime case. One that's just, well, it's chilling, to say the least.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one.
We're talking about Aranda Briones.
And we're going to be using court records, news reports, all that, to try and piece together what happened.
Yeah, trying to figure out how this young woman's life ended so tragically.
You know, what really gets me about this case is it all starts with, like, a normal high school friendship.
Okay.
Aranda Briones and Owen Skyler Shover.
Just typical teenagers.
Seemingly, yeah. Until November 2017 at Community Park.
Community Park? What happened there?
Well, Owen needed to get rid of a gun.
Okay.
And he asked Aranda to help. She, in a moment of panic, I guess, threw the gun into a canal.
I mean, probably seemed like the best idea at the time.
Yeah, but a school resource officer saw the whole thing.
Wow, talk about bad luck. A school resource officer at a park.
Right. And to make matters worse, Aranda admitted the gun was Owen's.
Oh, so they both got in trouble.
Yeah, both of them got expelled.
That's rough.
And that's where the resentment starts to build for Owen.
Okay, so instead of taking responsibility.
Right. He sees Aranda's confession as a betrayal.
Cost him his future.
He felt that way, yeah. And then to make things even more complicated, Owen moves to Hesperia.
So that puts some distance between them. You'd think that would help.
You'd think. But it seems like the resentment just grows.
Yeah, festering in that isolation.
Exactly. Over the next year, that feeling of betrayal, it warps into this obsession with revenge.
So it's not just anger anymore.
No. This is where it gets scary. He actually starts planning something.
Wow.
And this is where it gets even more disturbing. Like, in November 2018, he starts looking for a firearm.
Uh-oh.
But not in the usual ways. He goes online, social media, looking for people who could get him one.
Using social media to buy a gun, that's chilling.
It really is. It shows he was really thinking this through, planning it out.
This is serious premeditation.
By January of 2019, Owen was ready to put his plan into action.
So what does he do?
He contacted Aranda, acted like he wanted to be friends again,
Oh, wow.
hinted at some, exciting stuff.
So she had no idea what she was getting into.
No.
Poor girl.
She thought it was an adventure. She trusted him.
Trusted her old friend.
Exactly. Aranda agreed to meet Owen at Bayside Park on January 13th.
Okay.
That night, with two of her friends watching, she got in Owen's car, and they drove towards Box Springs Mountain.
So they're driving toward danger and they have no clue.
Right. And of course, being a teenager, Aranda's posting about this whole thing on social media, pictures, excited about hanging out with Owen.
Totally unaware of what's really going on.
Yeah, it's really sad to see.
And Owen's texting his brother, Gary Shover.
And the message is just, well, you'll see.
Okay, what did it say?
You ready for tonight? Get shovels and lighter fluid ready.
Oh my God. That's terrifying.
Completely different from what Aranda's posting,
Like two completely different realities.
Exactly. And as they're driving, their cell phone data, security footage, it shows them moving around Box Springs Mountain, going further and further into isolated areas.
He's leading them away from people.
Yeah. It's like something out of a nightmare.
So scary.
Right before 6 p.m., they make a stop at a mobile home park in San Bernardino to pick up Gary.
So now all three of them are together.
Yep. And then they drive deep into the San Bernardino Mountains, completely off the grid.
Isolated.
And then Owen turns his phone off.
No way to track them now.
For over an hour, they just vanish.
Just like that.
Aranda's phone dies.
Yeah.
No more social media posts, no contact with anyone.
And the last image we have of her is that selfie, smiling, happy.
Chilling, isn't it?
Knowing what's coming.
Makes you think.
It really does.
Well, we'll have to pick this up in the next part of our deep dive.
This is far from over.
As the days went by and turned into weeks, the silence, well, it became deafening.
You can imagine Aranda's family just consumed with worry.
They reported her missing, hoping, praying that she'd just run off.
Yeah, that she'd turn up safe.
Of course. And the police started investigating.
Had to start somewhere.
Right, and Owen was the last one with her.
So naturally, he became a person of interest.
Exactly. At first, they treated it like, a typical missing person case.
I was hoping for the best.
But when they started looking into Owen's story, things didn't add up.
There were holes in his alibi.
Owen said he dropped Aranda off at a park. Seemed harmless enough.
Yeah.
But they checked security footage. She wasn't there.
So he lied.
Pretty much. And then investigators searched Owen's car.
Oh, boy.
They found bloodstains.
Aranda's.
It was a match.
Wow. That's that changes everything.
Yeah, it shifted the investigation. Now it was a possible homicide.
And remember those messages Owen sent to his brother?
About the shovels and lighter fluid.
Yeah. The investigators found those too?
Hard to explain those away.
Totally incriminating.
Right, looked like premeditation, planning.
It's all starting to come together, pointing to something really bad.
But Owen, he kept insisting he was innocent.
Still sticking to his story.
Claimed he had no idea where she was.
But the evidence?
The blood, the texts.
Hard to ignore that.
And on February 11th, 2019, things took a turn. Owen and Gary were arrested at their home in Hesperia.
Wow.
The charges were serious. Owen was charged with first-degree murder.
Murder.
And a special circumstance of lying in wait.
What does that mean?
Basically, it means it was premeditated, an ambush.
Planned out.
And Gary, they charged him as an accessory.
After the fact.
Meaning he helped cover it up after the murder.
So now it's a legal battle.
And all the while, Aranda's still missing.
Just awful for her family.
I can't imagine.
To not know.
The case really captured the public's attention. Betrayal, mystery, it had it all.
But for Aranda's family, this wasn't entertainment.
Right, a real-life nightmare.
Must have taken so much strength for them to keep going.
Absolutely. And then another twist. Gary decided to change his plea.
Really?
Yeah. In March of 2024, he took a plea deal.
Admitted to being an accessory.
He agreed to cooperate, tell the truth about what happened.
Wow. That must have been tough.
To turn on his brother.
But maybe he realized how serious it all was.
His testimony was crucial for the prosecution. Corroborated their story, made the case against Owen even stronger.
So what happened to Gary?
He got 12 months of probation.
That's it.
He cooperated, showed remorse.
Still, he was involved in a terrible crime.
Right. But even with his testimony, one question remained. Where is Aranda?
Still missing.
The mystery continues. But with Gary's testimony, the texts, the blood in the car, the prosecution was ready to go to trial.
To bet a conviction.
Exactly. It was a big trial everyone was watching.
Yeah.
The prosecution argued that Owen, fueled by resentment and a desire for revenge, he lured Aranda into a trap and killed her.
And Owen, what did he say?
He still claimed he was innocent.
Wow.
So the evidence was all circumstantial.
But the jury, they had to make a decision.
A tough one. They deliberated for over a day.
Weighing all the evidence, the testimony.
And finally, they reached a verdict.
Guilty.
Guilty. First-degree murder.
So much relief for Aranda's family.
But also the realization that nothing can bring her back.
And Owen.
He still claimed he was innocent, even when they sentenced him.
Life without parole. Well,
That's the mandatory sentence. But even with the conviction, the sentencing, there was still that one question.
where is Aranda?
It's tough, to think about that verdict. A young life gone, a family devastated.
Yeah, and a community left trying to understand how something like this could happen.
And with the guilty verdict, well, the focus shifted to sentencing. Time for Owen to face the consequences.
And for Aranda's family to, I guess, have their say.
Right. Sentencing for murder, especially one as calculated as this, it's like, well, it's a big deal.
It's gotta be. You're talking about a life lost.
And in this case, with the first-degree murder conviction and the lying in wait.
There's not a lot of leeway, is there?
No, not really. California law, it's pretty clear. Life without parole.
So even though Owen kept saying he was innocent?
Didn't matter in the end. He was sentenced to life in prison. No chance of getting out.
Wow. The judge must have had some strong words.
Oh, yeah. About the seriousness of the crime, the pain Aranda's family was going through. And he talked about Owen's lack of remorse, how he never took responsibility.
Made the decision that much easier, I guess.
Probably. But even with the conviction, the sentencing, there's still a huge piece missing.
And
They never found her.
can you imagine all that searching and nothing?
It's something a lot of families of missing people have to deal with. Not knowing.
Just adds another layer of pain to everything else they're going through.
And it never really goes away.
It's like justice was served legally, but how do you find peace when you don't even know where your loved one is?
It's just heartbreaking. And there's no easy answer. The legal part might be over. But for Aranda's family, I bet the search for answers, it never really ends.
It's a reminder that sometimes justice and closure, they're not the same thing.
You're right. Aranda's case, it's a stark reminder of just how fragile life is.
And how anger, resentment, how it can lead to such horrible things.
It's a lesson we can all learn from. We need to be aware of those feelings, address them before they spiral out of control.
It's about open communication, healthy relationships, seeking help when you need it.
Absolutely. Maybe that's the most important takeaway from all of this.
If even one person can learn from Miranda's story, it might help prevent something like this from happening again.
That's what we can hope for.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive.
It's a tough case, but an important one.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.